to get him on board. And let me tell you a little bit about him just in case we can get him on board. He is a multi-generational contactee who has been in contact with 32 different ET species. And he recently did a 2-hour interview with ExopoliticsTV, Alfred Lambremont Webre. And so that's you can see his drawings. He has 32 species that he's had an artist draw of these different beings that are contacting him. They're mainly hyperdimensional ETs that have visited him, and each brings a consistent message of a coming positive transformation of human consciousness. And Ray also says that he is visited often, and he is briefed on a regular basis by 4 ET groups that he calls his Fabulous Four. But in the meanwhile, since we're waiting for that, Dr. Lesson is going to tell you what we're going to talk about today. Thank you for joining us, by the way.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Anunnaki, people who came here 450,000 years ago to get gold, which they wanted to sprinkle into their atmosphere to protect their planet, home planet named Nibiru, which comes through every 3,600 years or so through our inner solar system. They wanted to sprinkle this gold into as dust around their planet and keep their atmosphere in. And so they came to Earth, and so their miners rebelled. And so what they did is they adapted their genome to Earth using a few of the proto-Bigfoot genes from a guy named Erectus. He's also the father of Neanderthal. And a little copper, a little clay, and they made us, and we were their slaves, and they made armies, and they fought against each other. And we're going to tell you a little bit about the Anunnaki. And let me just tell you, the data comes from Sumerian scribes. They wrote that 6,000 years ago is when they wrote all this stuff down, and that's when this stuff was dictated to them about what happened, so way before the human scribes were created. And they told the Sumerians what the history of the planet was, its astronomy, its geology, and they gave them all kinds of technology, and they recorded all this on clay tablets and on monuments and captions that they put on the monuments. And the clay tablets and the monuments tell the history of Earth way better than any other explanation we found. The inscribed history makes more accurate predictions of facts that we can measure than any other theories have. Now, theories are hypothetical formulations. They're words and mathematical models, and they're meant to somehow account for what we see or what we saw in the past and what we will see. Theories say what to look for in the evidence of past, present, and future. The theories generate what's called hypotheses or guided guesses. In science, we also test what's called a null hypothesis. We look for what data would disprove our hypotheses. Now, if we go by this principle, which is called economy or parsimony, it's also known as Occam's razor, we try to find which explanations best account for all the data and which explanations skip the least of what we call O parts, the data and artifacts other explanations can't account for. And the Sumerian accounts of our history do the very best.
So consensus is what people think, and it determines social reality. But consensus doesn't predict the chemical composition of asteroids, for example, or the shape of the landmass beneath the Antarctic ice pack, the way that these ancient Sumerian tablets do. And so we're left with alternative explanations for much of this. So we enjoy the theories that consensus explains the explanations of our leaders and masses, but wonder and ask what ideas to cut with Occam's razor from consensus theories and to replace with better theories. So the Sumerians, as we're going to talk about today in today's program, they had better explanations than our religions, than academics, and mass consensus ever did. And so today on today's show, we are going to grasp the elephant of reality from these various perspectives. We're going to see them all and get a clearer picture of the beast and the blind, in this analogy of the elephant in the room. There's the blind people that have different parts of the elephant. And they generalize from their particular hold on this version of reality to the nature of the whole creature and its contents.
So an explanation or theory that most parsimoniously, simplest with the least words, numbers, and stuff, accounts for all the data, makes more accurate predictions of future behavior as well as past accumulated data, helps us understand better than the one that uses more words and more symbols and has to exclude more exceptions. That's the one we use for now. So, for example, Copernicus's heliocentric explanation of the apparent movement of planets takes less math to figure out where the planets are going to be than Ptolemy's epicycle system, even though Ptolemy's epicycles could predict the movement too.
So, for example, philosopher Neil Freer wrote, "I am convinced of the correctness of Zechariah Sitchin's thesis of our alien origins, and also of Sir Lawrence Gardner's thesis of how the line of the alien royalty hybrids still rule the world as our power elite, and this is the only explanation which contains no inexplicable elements, no contradictions, and which all the facts stands together in total consort. Our species' internecine violence is a product of the babbling factor, like the Tower of Babel, for crowd control that has carried through all these great wars and the religions and the mayhem of crusades, jihads, inquisitions, and persecutions, and is not intrinsically of human nature." So the Catholic Church is a continuation of the fear of the god Enlil, who was also known as Yahweh. And this is a type of subservient religion which came into ascendance by an alliance with the gradual assimilation of the Roman Empire and our society adopting its practices. Suppression of our true nature through promulgation of the Hebrew Old Testament forgeries were done to make Enlil their single monotheistic deity, and affected the racial amnesia, and the ancient Sumerian culture was forgotten and only rediscovered in the late 1800s. So military political controllers have suppressed the knowledge and data about alien presence on this planet by denial and ridicule. So let's talk about this a little bit, okay?
Okay, go ahead. Say what you want to say, honey.
Well, I guess to summarize what we're saying here is that we are in the God spell. We have these two factors, the Anunnaki, which translates into through time as God and Satan, and you have to realize that these are just they're kind of humanoids, and they're taller than humans, and they came in here. The Anunnaki came in here 450,000 years ago, and they genetically created Homo sapiens sapiens, and they put in place these political systems and religions which keep us controlled because there were so few of them and so many of us. And we have what's called racial amnesia because these religions have affected a God spell, a program which keeps us from remembering the past, and we put these past incidents into mythology. We mytholized all these things. And so, anyway, we'll continue.
So all explanations and theories are nothing but hypothetical variable sets, just words that our limited mental capacities try to apply to what we take in. So the theories aren't what they're about, just any more than a map is the territory or a menu is the meal. And menus taste awful compared to food. Well, anyway, theorists. What, Janet?
Slow down.
She wants me to slow down. Theorists are people who make a theory, and they always slant it. Theorists first guess what they think they'll find. That's their hypotheses. Hopefully, they say what information would also disprove their guesses. That's a null hypothesis. Now, if their prejudices lead them not even to think of or guess about some things, they never find those things. So, for example, 18th century Christians thought the earth was only 8,000 years old, and even the students of ancient Sumer did not look for fossil humans that Cremo says is in the earth millions of years before the Nibiruans even came to earth, which is 400,000 years ago or so.
Okay, so we're going to fast forward into time, and we're going to talk about...
It's just an example here of how the Bible changes the history.
Okay, for example, writers of the Bible painted Jezebel as a whore, when modern scholars pointed out that her whoring was no more than religious tolerance, which her intolerant and imitating enemies like Yahweh wish to discredit. The establishment, which are fundamentalist Jews, Muslims, and Christians, fear the more efficient explanations. Hi. We have Ray with us. Hi, Ray.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Great. All right, so we'll come back to the Anunnaki lesson after in another show, future show. Thank you very much for that little brief introduction to the Anunnaki. So, Ray, let me tell. Oh, I did tell our listeners who you are. So, Ray, what would you like to tell our listeners about who you are and how you got into this contact situation with these different entities?
I'm Ray Kosulandich. I grew up in a town called Dogtown, in Louis, Missouri, and all this started with my late grandfather in Yugoslavia when he was a lumberjack. And he would sit on this stump to eat his lunch, and my grandmother would give him 5 sandwiches. He'd have his coffee, and out of the woods came this dwarf, 12 inches tall, all colored clothes, sat on the bench with him, on the stump with him, and he gave him a sandwich, and they would talk, and they would do this quite a bit, and the message that this 12-inch dwarf had for my late grandfather was one of his sons and one of his grandsons would be chosen to meet many star people. Your people call them aliens or star people. That's what they like to be called. That's what they are. And that's kind of where it started. And then with my late father, he was implanted at 5 years old. He had a lot of missing time all the way up until I was 12 years old. But he was meeting a lot of star people at that time. And
so you're saying he was implanted. Do you know what he was implanted with?
a kind of device where they always knew where he was at, but a lot of it was telepathic message he would get. And then when I came in the picture at 12 years old, you want me to go from there or what?
Oh, yeah. So, do you recall getting implanted?
No.
No.
I always knew what was going on. When I was... Hello?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay. 12 years old, 1959. My dad had his 4 families, my mom and dad. And I used to go across the street because we had these enormous street lights. Everything was built and big back then anyway. And I used to love to hear the ping off of these lights. And I had 2 boulders break it. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this metallic object. It was a little bit bigger than a basketball, and it was silent, and it was coming up. I live on Tam Avenue. It was coming off of Main Street, Manchester. And it came over me about 30 feet. Little kid, 12 years old. I was going to throw at it. It was going to break in half if I would have thrown this rock at it, big rock. But I wanted to step back. I saw these little windows with these little tiny figures.
Wow.
They're my friends now. They're little 3-inch humanoids from the 5th and 7th dimension. They're part of my Fab 4. I was out there for about 45 minutes. Total, they shine a beam of light on me, and then went over this house and went down and shot straight up and disappeared. So I ran into the house. My mom's fixing breakfast, and my dad's sitting in his chair, and he had this pad that he would always write on. And I'm drawing everything that I'm seeing. And my dad's seeing this, and he's jumping up, saying all kinds of big words. I didn't know what he was talking about. And he said, "Where did you see this?" And I said, "Out in the front." Before I could even stop him, he went running out the front door, and my mom followed, and I had to go after him. And I'm bringing him inside the house. So he tells me to sit down and telling him everything I know. And I said, if I tell you everything I know, you're not going to kick my ass because I was trying to break the light. And he was kind of laughing at that, but he knew at that moment he wasn't alone anymore. He had somebody to console with and go meet the star people. And I didn't realize that night we were actually going to have our first visit. But what he did, he went grocery shopping. He bought all the groceries and 2 loaves of bread, and then we went. Car died, and they're coming to get us and take us in this giant space flying saucer. Put me in one room and put my dad in another room. I was laying on this metal table, and I was real scared. I was a 12-year-old kid. And I looked up at the ceiling, and I saw this yellow blanket coming down on top of me. I could move my head and my feet. I was trying to push my hands through it because it was real sticky and it was real tight. And I figured my dad was probably going through the same thing. So when they were done with us, scraping us and taking semen, they put us in this beautiful room. We had black and white TV. We didn't have color TV back then. And here come this beautiful color TV floating in front of me and my dad. Showed Hitler, showed the wars, and our beautiful planet totally on fire. And my dad was only 12 years old. My dad's asking them, do we have war? Did the sun fall? They're not saying nothing. This is all an education as we go through this. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, if you could maybe speak up a little bit. It's coming in a little bit soft. I just want to ask you real quick. We'll come back to the war and dissolution. Dissolution. How did they take your semen and your dad's semen?
They had these weird-looking tools that we've never seen before, and it looked like an L-shaped type thing. They were scraping hair samples off of us and taking the semen out. And when they got
Did
done,
you know what they were doing when you were 12?
Not really, because you're a 12-year-old kid. I'm sure my dad was understanding what was going on. We talked about that later. We left them, and as I got older, I knew what was going on. Even more why I was in the picture, because I was going to carry everything on, which I'm doing today, because I don't have my late grandfather, my late father no more.
Right.
And I made this quest for my dad, and I would continue and find out the answers, and the answers that we talked about that are happening now, and while we hear what's going on, and it's just it's just unreal,
So they were showing you scenes of destruction and the planet on fire. I actually had a similar experience where they showed me those same scenes, but they also showed me utopian scenes. But back to you, what were you being shown and what was going on for you?
But the education was when they were showing the picture of Hitler, the wars, and the beautiful planet totally on fire. The education, because we had to learn this on our own, and when we were finding out what each thing meant in the meetings, eventually they were, answering us. Hitler, bad person. Wars, all the wars we had. Our beautiful planet totally on fire. Somebody pressed a button, nuclear, whatever. And it was us to have a voice to, not the President of the United States, but to tell our people to stop the nuclear power plants, anything nuclear, stop the wars, what it's doing to our planet, but also what it was getting into dimensions to these people. That's why they're coming here. You got watchers and protectors of this planet, and they're concerned about this planet and us. And if we don't turn things around, we're not going to be here. Planet Earth will always be here. But all this was an education through the people we met, mainly me, because I met a total of 32. My dad met half of them. And the reason that my late grandfather got this message from that 12-inch dwarf, we were going to meet many star people, which we did. And the education and experience from where these people came, what their purpose is, what they're going to do, and they're going to be here for the people on this planet to intervene on everything, to make sure that this process goes smooth, because us as humans, it's our time to evolve from 3D to the fourth dimension. And this is something that was supposed to happen 368 years ago. You had so many bad ones down here. You always remember the bad ones come down here to control. And that's what they were doing. And as we go through this, things are going to change.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so you and your dad started. Did you ever have all three generations, or was your grandfather dead by the time you came into being contact?
No, I was a lot younger. I would hear these stories because my grandfather would talk a lot about the little people, you know. And when I got older, a little bit older, I actually talked with my grandfather and my dad. But my late grandfather didn't live that long. But I remember what he said, and I know my dad remembered what he said, and it all came true. You know, 12 years old, that's when I came in the picture for a reason. You know, I used to go out every Saturday morning, try to bust that light. It was always on a Saturday. And ever since that incident, I never threw a rock in a street light ever again. But it was a reason for me to come in. And it's all about DNA. It's all about generations. And some of the planets that their DNA was messed up, there's supposed to be 12 planets out there that actually use our DNA now for hybrids. And when we get into hybrids, it's not really a bad thing, because through the 50 years of my life here with the 28 friends that I have compared to the 4 bad ones I met, there's 6 million hybrids ready to come down here.
So let's talk about hybrids for a little bit. You're saying there's 12 different planets. You mean 12 different species that are. Can you tell us which 12 species are creating hybrids with humans?
Well, you got the Greys, number one. You got there's 20 planets out there that are human-like. You know, they look like us, but they're different color, skin, and everything. That they messed up on their DNA, and they're using our DNA through the people that they're adopting, and for their purposes and for their survival. You know, this is the education we're getting from a lot of my Fab Four.
So they messed up on their DNA, and they're trying to correct some kind of. Can they mess up our DNA then? That's kind of scary.
No, we're real important. We're a main player in this. We're a very unique being. And I understand why everybody comes down to this planet to begin with. It's probably the most beautiful planet out there that I know of. I've seen it 3 times coming in, and once in my late father's twice by myself. You know, there's watchers and protectors. There's many. And just think about the ones that were here way before, you know, you can go back to the start of in a time or whatever. The giants were down here. You know what we're doing. You know, the biblical times. I mean, cavemen. There's so much, and there was so much taken away from us and hidden from us. You know, we only use 14% of our brain. When we get all the answers and know what the hell's going on, we're going to be pissed off to a point, but you're going to know everything. That's why these people, when they come down here, especially Tolich people, you draw them a council. He's going to have 4 different planets come down here globally to let everybody know what's going on. And You know, this is going to happen. It's our time to evolve, to turn into a higher dimension. All these
what do you mean by this council? Can you tell us a little bit about this council? And it seems to have some kind of rule over us.
Well, as far as I know, there's 12 Rama Council planets, and my friend Tully, he talks to them telepathically. He actually goes to a lot of meetings up there. There's these ambassadors. I don't know all their names, and they have these meetings every day. And they're a big part of, and they're a major player of what is going to happen when we do have visitation contact. Like I was telling you guys, it's going to be an event that will cause that, and we're going to get a lot of answers that were hidden from us, a lot of knowledge and technology, and the way this thing is going. You know, through my 50 years of my Fab 4 and the 28th, and I met. And what they were saying, you know, you got a lot of watchers or protectors of this planet.
Are you going to be the MC for the event?
If they want me to, I'll be there, brother.
Cool.
Can you tell us a little bit? We're going to have to go back and fill in some pieces here because we're kind of all over the place. But let's just, since we're at the event, and so there's going to be an event. Can you explain what you mean by an event, quote unquote? What is an event? Like an example of what kind of event we might be looking at.
Example would be a large asteroid heading this way. It's not going to hit this planet. It would come by Mars. It would come by planet Earth. It would cause magnetic earthquakes. That would cause visitation. Us humans are used to a date and a time. They're only used to an event. You know, this craft that's out there that's carrying these 5,000 members with 30 different races, accompanied by these Procedians to protect them, and 2 giant flying saucers. Our cousins are on this craft, right? There's 29 other different races on here. We're going to get a lot of answers. But when they get through our atmosphere, this giant craft that they want everybody to see, our atmosphere, when this event happens, the Rama Council, 12 planets, they cannot wait for visitation. But they know what it's going to be for that to happen. It'll be an event. They're not just going to come down here on their own. They came down here, not the Rama Council, but some of the star people came down here, you know, back in the early times.
So they've been coming here. Do you have, like, did they tell you when they started visiting the Earth? Like, was it hundreds
Oh, my God, there's no telling. It's way beyond us. They've been coming down here for many years. You know, you see it in your signs on these stones in Egypt. There's all kinds of messages where they, you know, come down here and help the biblical people in that time, and, you know, through our generations of time. But for a human being, as important as we are, you know, we have to evolve. We have to change. This planet's going to change. This planet's going to be a better planet, a more beautiful, peaceful planet. There's going to be no more wars. 10 years, there will be no money. We will be like them. We will trade for energy. You know, kind of
right. Like, so they don't have money as like we do. They don't have politics like we do. What's their system like? Have you been given any indication of how they conduct themselves?
They have meetings every day. For people to understand, star people have a life just like we do. It's a little bit different. There's a planet out there with engineers that do nothing but design all these beautiful UFOs from other planets. That's what they do. They trade for energy. There's no money out there. There's no time out there. There's no
so energy is something you can use as a medium of exchange, you're saying?
Yeah, some kind of an energy, whatever it may be. You know, we're going to learn this. We're going to be taught these technologies. You ever watched that movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still? You know, eventually that's what's going to happen to our higher-ups. This is going to be a peaceful planet, just like everybody else. Everybody can get along. You know, I didn't meet Valiant Thor. I really think
you did or did not meet Valiant Thor?
I
did not.
But I really think this guy came down with a book to give to all the people on this planet. This is the way that we would do things. They were going to do this. But you got people playing God with our lives that kept that a secret and went a different way. You know, this was an education that me and my father got, bits and pieces.
So let's go back to the beginning because we kind of jumped forward. So you go, tell us about your first contact with your father. Okay, you were telling us about that. So what kind of species was that? That was a gray species?
Yeah, it was Serpo Grays.
The Serpo, the planet Serpo, S-E-R-P-O.
That's the, huh?
S-E-R-P-O, the Serpo Grays.
Right, from planet Serpo. They, when they were scraping us, you know, they put us in that room, we would pick up little things from each one. And we saw these, look like fiber optic cable, and these real vines growing underneath. Because these guys are vegetarians. Mm-hmm. And they had these handprints. They were all different. It was like seven different Serpo Grays. Each one to do something with the flying saucer. And I saw this vine in the side of his hand. And that's when I nudged my dad. I was only 12 years old. I said, Dad, he's feeding himself. We saw that. It was little things we pick up. And they were drinking this green, yellow slime-like. And they said, we can't drink that because it would kill us. Mm-hmm. But these are friends of ours. And then when we came out of the craft, because of radiation and magnetic field, you got to remember they're coming from different dimensions from their planets to get here. They use wormholes, short ways of coming. It takes them about an hour and 40 minutes to get to our planet. Mm-hmm. Okay. But anyway, we were stepping outside, and, you know, they were around us. We were bent over, our noses started bleeding real bad. It wasn't hitting the ground. It was like a necklace of blood. It was going back to the next nostril. We were hitting ourselves in the chest. I was looking at my dad. I thought we were going to die right there. And then it completely stopped as we're walking towards the car, and they're walking with us. And we get in the car, and we're watching them leave. And when they took off, that's when I looked in the back seat. Everything was there but the 2 loaves of bread. So when the car started, we went back to the yard that we would meet. It was 210 by 60. You cut it with a push mower. We didn't have power mowers back in the day. And I told my dad, the next time we see the star people, we bring bread. He laughed at me. And second time, he brought 5 loaves of bread. Third time, he took 7. It didn't take him very long to figure it out. We had no missing time. It was a peace offering for us to always come back, even when we met the bad people.
Did you ever get any further insight onto your nosebleed? And you're saying that you got exposed to radiation. So if you're getting exposed to radiation, I guess people that are getting abducted are getting exposed to radiation. Was that ever just further down the line?
Did it ever create anything down the line?
Yeah, did getting exposed to radiation, did you get sick? Did you have any side effects? Did your dad...
We got sick, maybe threw up, but nothing major. You know, mm-hmm. I got Agent Orange prostate cancer. I got that in the service. Mm-hmm. But
what about the dose that was an unusual way for bleeding? Did you get any insight onto why it wasn't just dropping onto the ground and why it was circling back into your noses?
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay. Okay, well, continue with your story. It's fascinating. Please.
And anyway, we would bring bread to every star person we met. It was a peace offering that, you know, they'd give us information. Like when we met the one-eyed Cyclops people, these guys are 8 to 10 feet tall. They're from the fourth dimension. It's flying a giant egg shape. A lot of these sightings are in the late evening, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. The most beautiful colored craft you ever seen. It's metallic in the daytime. Because when the lights are off, we can see what the craft looks like. Mm-hmm. And they're giving us information. First, we thought these guys were going to tear us apart by looking at them. I didn't know if you have any pictures up there to show your audience up there, but
well, they can go to aquarianradio.com and click on the link for today's show. There's a couple pictures there, but I have a link to the link that Alfred provided. I wasn't able to get that up on my site. Couldn't quite get it to work. But you have somewhere 30 the renditions of the 32 different species. So the second species you met was the Cyclops, or did you meet other species?
No, we met them. Yeah, we met them in 1959. And
wow.
Like I said, we thought these guys were going to tear us apart. They talk telepathically. They're real brilliant. From the fourth dimension, and they're protectors and watchers of this planet. And a lot of them gave the same message. We have to turn everything around. Everything we're doing is wrong now with the cars, you know, with what it's doing to the ozone, spraying all of our food. In the long run, in 20 years, we're killing ourselves. And with the nuclear power plants, anything nuclear, the wars, we're destroying this planet. You know,
did they give you any ideas on how you could, you know, you're just two human beings, how could you affect the culture to turn this around? Did they give you any ideas on what you could do?
Well, the thing of it is, if we stop all what they're saying, this is going to change the world in a different direction, the way it should be. Mm-hmm. You know, if you remember, probably back in the 1920s, all of them inventions that were supposed to be were held up. And who were they held up by?
Right, so we're going to talk about who the Illuminati are a little bit down the line here, but...
And all this is going to change now as we're getting into, you know, 2014. We're going to have solar. There's going to be a lot of different technologies. And they're going to come down here with technologies. It's going to change everything for the better. They talk big time now about fish farming down there. It's going to be a big thing.
Oh, good.
Oh, fish farming.
Yeah. But it's
so they haven't really given you a hint about what the event is, just that there will be an event, and you were saying an approximate time frame for that?
Well, the year I got was 2017. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I said yes. Okay, so we'll go back to that later on. So your second species you met was the Cyclops, and how did you know to meet them? Did they take you out of your bed, or what was this?
No. All these meetings were telepathic. Especially now because I'm alive. Now just play with me. My dad's on the picture. My late grandfather's on the picture. The telepathic messages. We got highways down here. They would come on my TV. My TV's off. Okay? It's my Fab Four. This is the Nardies that look like us. The elephant people from the 13th, 14th dimension. Nardies are from a different dimension. Serpo Greys are from the planet Serpo. And my little 3-inch guys, that was my very first encounter from the 5th and 7th dimension. And it would be telepathic. It would be like line 40 east, That's Highway 40 east. I would get in my car, travel that way on that highway. The code was I would see the craft, whatever it was, come across my car, blink the lights twice, the next exit was mine, whether it was a winding outer road or straight. And I would be there, the car would die. They're already there. When my watch stopped...
Do they land somewhere most times, or do they teleport you up into the...
They're always landing, or they might be a little bit off the ground, because there was a couple of them that would take me to another dimension, star or whatever, and we'd have the meeting in the room. There's a lot of times they would show me future videos, past, present, and future. Like, I'll give you one incident. It was, we have the Gateway Arch downtown St. Louis. And he was showing me future videos. The Nardik, he has this crystal vase-like with this pointed crystal. He would stick it into this crystal vase, and the whole wall would open up like a drive-in theater. Okay, you're looking at future films. And it was showing the Gateway Arch falling. It's broad daylight. The Mississippi rising, flooding, downtown St. Louis. The large buildings are falling. I saw an ambulance, a fire truck. People were jumping out of buildings. People were dying. The streets are sinking. This, you okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It was just
when this video was over, then the Nardik, my friend, he's looking at me, call me Raymond. My name's Ray Raymond. This will happen, but we will intervene. This is the kind of power that these people have because of what people are doing down here. They're playing God with their lives. They're causing this. There was just a 6.0 earthquake in Napa Valley today.
Right.
You know, the thing to remember, because I'm kind of going on for a little bit, the people that are playing God, the higher power, have the power and the technology to change the weather and to cause an earthquake anywhere they want. And
do you think that was HAARP?
Huh?
Do you think that was a HAARP event?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what's your reasoning on that?
Well, you got a lot of people. You got 7 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put yourself in the position of the bad people. They control everything. There's 7 billion people. When you really want to control something, and you want to knock it down to 500 million people planet-wise, you can control pretty much. Mm-hmm. You got to get rid of the other people. All this stuff's going to change for the better. We got a lot of power backing us up. I got a lot of power backing me up.
That's great.
I got educated. These star people ain't playing around. There's ships all around this planet right now. There's ships out there in Mars watching our military underground bases, what they're doing.
So there's bases on Mars, correct?
Correct.
Are there human bases and extraterrestrial?
Pardon me?
Are there both human and extraterrestrial?
Yeah, there's 5 different star people, and our military's up there, yeah.
All right, so this is a HAARP event, and have you been to Mars or the Moon?
Have I? No.
No, they haven't taken you. Okay.
No. I've been in Planet Circle. I've been to other dimensions, other stars. When I meet, sometimes we'll just take off from that. They always pick a secluded area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they're in the air, they can evade our radar. Whether anybody that's human sitting on their porch or something, seeing this beautiful giant object, and it comes in this area that I'm going to meet them. I mean, that's in a picture, I can't control it. They can't control that. They will either stay in that secluded area, and I'll be in that room, or they'll take off. They'll actually bring me right back where my car is. But, I've had that happen. And through this whole whole life of 50 years, I ain't nothing but a messenger. I'm doing this for my late grandfather, my late dad, and the people on this planet. I have my meetings, first Monday of the month in this bowling alley. All my meetings are taped. I got UFOHub.net. I got it's EMS.com. Both of my buddies take my meetings, whether I'm speaking or future speakers, of what's going on. And I have to get these messages out from my Fab Four to let everybody know what's going on, what's coming up. And I got people like Tolik, who's a great friend. He's got the Andromeda Console. Me and him talk a lot. We get confirmation because somebody said what our star people were saying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of blows our mind. We don't take any credit. He's down to earth just like I am. You know, nobody knows what he looks like, and I can understand why. You know, this guy's got families. He used to let people see who he is. He got a lot of death threats. Only time anybody was in my life was one time was U.S. Army helicopter. It was 5 of them. But I'm 66 years old. I'm at the point where, you know, I don't care. This information is going to get out. I have a lot of power backing me up. I got people that are taking care of me, watching over me. Even though I'm a sick guy, but I do pretty good for 66.
Well, they're protecting you, and the time is now, correct? Before this, you weren't really out there talking about this. You're relatively new. We're coming up on a break. I just wanted to say a couple of things here, and then we're going to have like a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back for part 2. But did you have something to say real quick, sweetheart?
Oh, just when we come back, we're going to look at how the planetary oligarchy and those who run them are going to react to the event and the threat of things being nice here instead of just to their advantage.
So anyway,
how am I doing?
You're doing great. We usually have music, and so sorry for the technical difficulties, listeners. Sean is going to take us to a break in about 1 minute or half a minute or 30 seconds. Okay, here we go.
Oh, it looks like we get music.
We got music. Okay, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
The body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. The heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system keeps telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio.
Reporting to danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution. Radio.
We find that we detect people.
Even if you had the password, it takes you 10 minutes to get in, and you still gotta find the files.
Every Monday.
We demand free access to data.
Started learning codes that night.
From 2 to 4 p.m.
The idea of having your own computer, a personal computer, was inconceivable.
Join me as we progress through high-quality information in all fields. From hacking news to world important issues. A constant stream of verbal nonsense. There is only one choice. One chance. So tune in to the internet and beyond with Count Foster. Only on Revolution Radio. You think this bad neighborhood?
Tune in Tuesdays at 12 noon Eastern on Studio A to hear Tammy Adams share her knowledge of an unknown realm on Talking with Your Angels. Join Tammy as she uncovers hidden secrets about the spiritual world of angels, ghosts, and other entities that have been with us longer than we know. Tammy is a psychic, a teacher, spiritual coach, a leader in her field, and will be sharing her information and stories with you. So join us on Tuesdays at noon on Studio A. With Tammy's guidance, she'll find out who has been watching over you from the other side, and soon you will be talking with your angels.
Third Phase of Moon, the largest UFO YouTube channel, is now the largest civilian-run radio station. Join us Thursdays from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Third Phase of Moon Radio. Cousins Brothers Productions and Rome Productions working together as researchers on a mission to uncover the truth. Dr. J. Andy Elias will take the listeners on an amazing journey. We will be talking to the top ufologists, UFO experiencers, alien abductees, and taking your calls from around the world. Third Phase of Moon Radio is now on the airwaves on Revolution Radio. Be sure to join us Thursdays, 8 to 10 Eastern. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time.
Join Revolution Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio B for Momentary Zen with host Zen Garcia at freedomslips.com, the People Station.
Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Aloha everyone, and welcome back to the Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I am your host, Janet Carelison, with my co-host the incredible Dr. Sasha Lesson. And I just want to remind everybody that Revolution Radio is listener supported. So please do go over to that donation button on the website right now and donate what you can. $1, $5, $10, $15, $20, $100, whatever you can donate is greatly appreciated. And we thank you very much for your donation. We are here with Ray Kosulandich. I probably didn't say that right, but he's Ray Kosi Baby. That's what he says I call him. I think it's cute. And he is a contactee experiencer. He has met with 32 different individual types of beings over 50-plus years. And he's here to tell us about the positive future. And Dr. Lesson, you want to say something before we start back up again with Ray?
No, let's get right into how this Andromeda Council is going to save our lives.
All right. So I forget where we were. We took a break here, but so you've already... Oh, I had a question. Did your dad ever tell your mother that he was being contacted by extraterrestrials?
No, I had a great mother, great parents to begin with, and she was never in our people's life. I got an older brother. Was he
allowed to tell her, or he just kept it from her because what was going on there?
He never knew.
She never knew. Wow, you never know, ladies, what your husband's keeping from you.
Here's the thing, because you're a contactee yourself.
Yes, I am.
This was all planned out for us. And it's designed for me to carry on. I have my drawings here, and if you let me kind of briefly go through this, what it all means is this. The purpose, because there was bad people in here too, was total of 32, 28 good, 4 bad. You got good and bad out there, you got good and bad down here. And for their reasons and for what they said, their information, which was not good. But like these people are, a lot of them are already down here, they have bases, okay? All these people are getting prepared for what's going to happen in our future here. And I'm just kind of using 2017 for something major is going to happen. You know, going through this over 50 years, growing up with these people, I met these people 3 times, some of them only once, like the Seahorse people. Their planet was dying. They're from the 23rd planet. And they were going to get back to me. They never did, okay?
Now, what was that? Say that again. The what people?
Seahorse people. So
there's basically species that kind of resemble things that we just can describe, and maybe you should give us the rundown of the 32 species, like a brief. Here's what they are.
I'm going to do that now. But I'll come up with my Fab 4 at the end, but
right.
You already heard about the one-eyed Cyclops people. The other ones were these star women. They have long black hair, blonde hair, ray guns. They're from another dimension, another galaxy. You could put a blouse and a pair of jeans. They're walking amongst us. They have bases down here. There's a reason they're in the picture. Every one of these other, I won't say the bad ones don't have a reason, but it's not a good reason. Then there's the monk people. These guys are 1 million years in technology. They're from the 15th dimension. They're bald-headed. They wear these brown robes with these little stars around their belt. They got 7 fingers, 7 toes. They got suction cups on their fingers. They fly in a birthday-sized flying saucer. This is, some of the weird-looking crafts that they fly in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the blue people. You got two sets. You got the blue warriors. They have bases. They're underneath the ground right now. They're programmed. If anything happens bad, what they're supposed to do to protect us humans. And you got the blue, spiritual, female, really loving. They can float off the ground. You know, they're here also for the same reasons. And you got the orange people. They find a donut shop, like a donut-sized craft. These guys are 4 to 10 feet tall. They're from another galaxy far away. They're programmed. They have bases down here to protect us, just like the Blue Warriors. As I'm going through this, when I get to the insect, because my next entity, star person, is the worm people. And remember, we have tiny worms down here from the dimension. They're brown and green in color. They fly in two weird-looking crafts. They're always around water on their planet. They're 6 feet tall. Again, they all have the same purpose for being here, same information. Then if you remember Casper the Ghost, these guys look like ghosts. They're green glowing people. They float off the ground. They got these real dark orange eyes. They're from another dimension, and they had the same messages. And I met these snake people.
What is their message again? What is their message? Everybody's message.
Everybody's message is they're here, they're going to be here for the big day, and they're here to protect us.
Okay.
They're watchers and protectors of this planet. Okay? This was all set up. You know, from the time my late grandfather, talking to this 12-inch Dwarf, that's in the 32, the one that looks exactly like the one he talked to, it wasn't the one he talked to. And these guys are from the 7th and 8th dimension. They're little dwarfs. They live in the trees on our planet. They live in the trees down here. They can go through dimensions. They have a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
And the next ones are the snake people. These guys have an antenna. It looks like a snake wrap around their heads. They got huge purple eyes. It looks like a little goatee with this antenna. They got 3 fingers. I couldn't see their feet because they had boots. These guys are 6 feet tall. They're from another dimension. You know, we asked them what their planet was. They wouldn't give their planet. A lot of them would give their dimension. Some of them would give the planet, not that many. And when I got into the bad people, these are the praying mantis. They're supposed to be real spiritual and nice. That's why I think there's an east and west of them.
Right, because I've had interaction with the praying mantis, and they were very loving, and I've heard of other people, but you're saying your encounter, it wasn't very pleasant.
Yeah, they're 6 to 7 feet tall. What happened with our encounter with them, they pushed my dad down, and they treated him rough. They didn't really do nothing to a child. But I kicked one in the shin, and I kind of went behind my dad, you know, trying to help my dad out. But they showed me that they weren't really friendly, and they had different ideas of what they wanted. They don't want us to make it. It's just like the next ones, the reptilians. These are the 2 lizard people. These are the people that have been controlling this planet for a long time. Their purpose was to the entire Milky Way. There's 20 other human-like planets out there, and planet Earth. We would have all been reptilians. If it wasn't for these, I never met them, these good vegetarian reptilians and the Procedians, I think they're from the planet Keeler and Kala, because these good reptilians knew the weakness of the Hydro and Draco reptilians and how to get to their bases. I was back in February 2011. That's when the Procedians shot that sonic blast that blew up all them reptilian and Orion Gray bases, killed a lot of them. A lot of them left, went back to their planet. A lot of them are up for charges, criminal charges, with the 12 planets of the Geronimo Council. There's only 250 left down here. And as we're going through from 3rd dimension to a higher frequency, 4th, they can't even touch us when we get into that next frequency.
So are these reptilians the Illuminati, like David Icke says, they're shape-shifting Illuminati, and they're in control of, like, the British crown and all over the planet?
Pope,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can walk right through you. They can walk through walls. There's a lot of things. They put nothing but the fear of God in you. And, you know, the information, you know, we got was not good, you know. because, they wanted to control the world. They wanted to control us. We were going to be them. But we have good star people out there that stepped in to end that. We didn't have that. I'd be talking to 2 reptilians on this show right now.
That's the story that you're saying about the 2 types of reptilians. It goes exactly with the stuff that Mark Richards has mentioned about how a reptilian who was friendly to President Carter's Delta Force and knew where the base under Dulce was, directed and saved the whole operation to secure the hostages that were being used at the international brothel under Dulce. So, and actually directed the F-22 plane the reptilian landed his craft there and helped them fight out. So it's totally, I'm just wondering what's left of the reptilians that are going to resist the event and what's going to happen in their final resistance.
There's 250 left down there on this planet. When this giant craft with a 5,000 crew aboard, 30 different races, the Procedians that shot that sonic blast are accompanying this large craft. They're the sizes of 2 cities, 2 giant flying saucers. In case the reptilians, the 250 on planet Earth, try to do anything, they can more or less hang it up. It's not just them, my 28, and whoever else. So there's so many coming now that are getting ready. There's so many around this planet. They're close. You can't see them. They're ready just in case something major happens. They're going to protect us.
Got backup, yeah.
So is this a galactic kind of war that's been ongoing, and so this is kind of like the final frontier, the final siege?
Yeah, because you always hear about Armageddon, everything is coming, the Bible, the way everything's coming here. I think I was telling you guys on the other show that they're prepared for this. There's going to be 2 safe havens, dimensions. You're going to see these dimensions, one on the left, one on the right. It's going to be huge. It's the information I get. I'm just a messenger. For us to go into, they're going to come here. There's going to be a lot of different UFOs, a lot of different star people taking us off this planet. If there's an Armageddon, there ain't one person going to be touched, human being. The blue people, the blue warriors, all these people that are ready and programmed to do what they're supposed to do to protect us, if this would happen. But the way it's going, I don't think you're going to have that. And when they come down here, it isn't going to be for a day. When this does happen, they're going to be working with us. They're going to be teaching us new technologies. When all this is said and done, then many good ones will come. This is going to be a peaceful planet. There's not going to be more wars. There's going to be a lot of new technology, a lot of new things that we're going to be doing, which we should have been doing a long time ago. And we got people playing God down here with our lives. All that shit's going to stop.
So they kind of outlined to you like how they're doing this. They're going to be coming in and doing this, bringing in the positive paradigm for us.
Right. We're humans. We're not immortal to where we know everything. We're learning from these people. Me and my late father have learned from these. We got educated. We didn't have to go to school for this.
Right.
Okay? I mean, I had my human life. I still got my human life. I got all my friends, everything. But I have this over here. It's been the greatest experience ever to meet the hideous, good-looking star people that have educated me. I have a little cat. I met the cat people. These guys are 9 to 12 feet tall. Giant cats. They're either brown or blue.
The cat people.
Yeah, cat people. Ant people. Ant people. We got tiny ants down here. These ants are 6 to 7 feet tall. The leaders have wings. They can fly. A lot of them don't have wings. But me and my late father, we just came to the conclusion, we picked the year 1800. And Colorado was always the place that these giant insects met. And whatever the purpose was for the tiny ones, they had a meeting, we'll just say back in the 1800s, for what purpose, and the purpose for them, for what they're supposed to do. Okay? Mm-hmm. They were here before us. This is what I get from them. But we got educated. And I know there's tiny ones down here. There's a mountain in Peru you can only see from up above. There's a giant chimpanzee drawing, a giant bird drawing. I never met the giant. Huh?
The plains of Nazca, yes.
Yeah. And I've also heard there's giant 6 to 8 feet friendly bees, a 6-foot giant grasshopper. But we have tiny ones down here. Praying mantis. They're green. They're tiny. You've seen how big these praying mantis are. There's a lot to all this. But at the same time as I'm talking to you guys and the people who listen to the show, this was set up for me to meet 32 people my dad made have. This whole thing was set up with the information from every one of these different species, with the information that they were given to me. I try to get it out of my meetings whenever I get any kind of vital information, especially my Fab 4, because I see them about every 2 months for vital information. This is ongoing. And
so what was the last species that your dad was able to see in his lifetime?
I would say because they wouldn't give us what they were. These monster-looking people, they look like they're all striped, but they look like they came out of prison. They're real ugly, but they're real friendly. Mm-hmm. They're 6 feet tall, and they came from the 10th dimension. A lot of them wouldn't give us their dimension, but they came from a dimension or another galaxy. These people were coming from far away with information to give my late father, and now it's me. And all
can I ask, did anyone come from the area of Deneb? Because the area of Haran in Turkey that I've been studying lately has a whole bunch of its structures oriented right to the split in the Milky Way in the constellation of the Swan, a star called Deneb, and they say that's where their ancestors came from. Do you have any information on that?
Very little, but I've heard about that. I've heard about just what you said.
Oh, okay.
So, go ahead.
A lot of these people came from all over far away. You got the frog people. We got frogs down here.
Right.
I mean, these people don't look like frogs, but they're underneath our mountains. They're messing with our style. They're doing something good down here. We got, what kind of frogs we got down here?
Credence told us about one called Jeremiah.
It's a full frog now.
He was a frog.
There's a frog on there.
I have actually been at council meetings with they told me there were 100,000 different individuals, beings there, no two alike. There's one representative of each species. And, it gets to the point, I think they're showing us species that we can kind of give a descriptor to. That looks like a frog, looks like an ant. But when you get into these large arenas, you can't even begin to describe them. It just blows your minds. There's so many variations on the theme of what life can show up like. So that might be why they are sending beings that do resemble. I've seen the frog. I know I've seen the praying mantis. I know Stuart Swerdlow talks about butterfly. And so these are full-grown variations of these insects. But what I heard from the report from that was given to us by Errol the Gray, she lived long enough to give us a report about what life was like in the cosmos. And she was probably a good Serpo Gray. And she said that the planets are terraformed and life is introduced, and that's why when you watch Star Trek, you go, why is there so many humanoid species and everything? That's because there is a commonality throughout the universe, and when there's a species that works, they seed it on various planets because it's a species that works.
Right.
That's what I heard.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that because me and my late father would talk about that. We grew up, I'm sure you guys grew up in Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually, you know, United States going to meet them. They're coming to us. Well, they came to me and my late father, the dwarf, and my late grandfather. There was a reason for all this, you know. We're three people. Has something to do with DNA generation. We're three people. There's millions of us on this planet. They're like my late grandfather, my late dad, and me. We're not the only three. But here's the thing, Janet and your husband.
Sasha.
They pick the right people. They're not going to come in to somebody that's bad. The good are going to come to somebody that's loving, spiritual. Oh, enchilada. This whole thing was set up through generations. You know, it started by my late grandfather, my dad, me. My dad was with me at age 12, 1959. From that year on, we never had any missing time. We always knew what was said, what was going on, the information I get as we go through this. Now with my Fab Four. They're not the Beatles. I don't know why I came up with that name, but that's
I like
the name
that. So tell us again, who are the four that are your Fab Four, and who are the four that are the bad ones? Just to refresh our memory.
The four bad ones are the praying mantis, the reptilian, two-legged lizard guys, the Orion Greys with no big black eyes. They're from the planet Orion, and these guys in silver suits. They have a light for a face. When it blinks, they talk telepathic. These guys didn't have our best interest. They don't want us to make it. You know, that's how we could take from the 32, 4 bad, 28 good. Because even the ones that looked hideous, like these hairy people, these guys are 8 feet tall. They're real hairy. They got slanted eyes, big mouth, real orange eyes. They have an orange glow around their body. They're really friendly. They're from another dimension. But, you know, they're one of the good guys, believe it or not. When you see these, because your people, when you're seeing these pictures, unless they go to YouTube, because that interview with me and Alfred is on there showing them all, and they're all download, and everybody gets a chance. Here's the other thing. I have a video picture through my whole life of what these people look like. I'm not an artist. It took me 6 months knowing that Jeannie was a healer and a spiritual Indian. She's a real good friend of mine, Jeannie Blankenship. She always came to my meetings, talks, and I didn't know she was an artist. So she, you know, made a promise that she would draw them. And she did, down to the T. Otherwise, I couldn't get these drawings out so everybody could see what they look like, okay?
She did a good job.
So that worked out. And I'm working on some other things, but
they're great.
The hardest thing for your people to understand, everybody wants proof. We almost had it. Me and my dad almost had it. We were with the Nordiques, and they had this laser gun. It was outdated because they were getting new ones. And it was like green, yellow, and red. The gun was a weird-looking ray gun. Had a red button. It had 4 white buttons on it. And the Nordique was telling us the first button was stun, the second one was still, the third one, if you press it, it would disappear, and the fourth one, it would blow up. And we almost had a chance of bringing that back, but they wouldn't let us do it.
Right.
But to get any kind of real proof, they don't care if you take pictures of their crafts. They don't care about that. They know that's going to happen. But if everybody's going to see these people, you know, you got people out there that don't care. You got people that, you know, understand what's going on. There's a lot of people on this planet that have no idea what's going on. You know, because they're situated and comfortable of the way of life, even though you got people playing God down here, you know, because we got a lot of disease and greed. The star people know that the two main factors down here is greed and disease. The reptilians poison our oceans, our water, our food. Every time you turn around, you know, you're getting something. The thing that's going to happen for me when I had that recent meeting with my Fab Four, because I have prostate cancer. Now, these guys care about me. They came up with these two ingredients for me to start taking to cure my cancer. Apricots and baking soda. If this works, and maybe it's going to work for all cancers, breast cancer, down the line. If this works for me, you know, I'm going to give it a shot. The stuff that we had down here. Hey, these people know what's cures of this and that. Plus, they're trying to work on some other things on my Agent Orange.
So with this revolution, they're going to provide cures for diseases, and our government has most of them. They keep it repressed. So we're going to finally have the cures for all diseases, and possibly our life expectancy expanded to what it should be. And what I've heard from Dr. Aubrey de Grey, that he's a geneticist that's working on the Human Genome Project, that they already have these, they expect it within 5-10 years max, a lot of these cures, but mainly the life expectancy of people, half of the people alive today will be 1,000. The other half will probably die from, accidents and diseases. But so our life expectancy, they know, is at least 1,000 years. And of course, we have the biblical tales of humans living in excess of 1,000 years. But he says once we reach 1,000 years, we'll probably have the technologies and the fixes for, he calls it escape velocity. So it'll be endless. We will basically be at choice to be physically immortal, because human beings have the capacity from our Anunnaki DNA of living hundreds of thousands of years, literally. Right. So, wanted to ask about Bigfoot and the Anunnaki. What do you know about Bigfoot and the Anunnaki?
The only thing I asked, not by the Anunnaki, but the Bigfoot, the only thing I asked my Fab Four about this one species of Bigfoots, because I'm trying to get an answer on this from some of my people. One species came from the planet called Maleva. It was dying. They messed up somehow. Pyramids, you see on Mars, down here on Earth, the Moon, and wherever their planet is, they teleportate from there to Mars, Moon, planet Earth. These guys are supposed to be down here for 500,000 years. And I was trying to find out, this one person that actually grew up with Bigfoot for 40 years, to find out if any of these Bigfoots are from the planet Maleva. And what you just got to saying about eternal life and everything, I think it's going to happen quicker. When we go from a carbon to a crystal liquid, you're going to be healthy. You don't have to worry about disease no more. This is what they tell me. And you learn a lot from these star people.
So there's going to be less meat to rot.
Huh?
There'll be less meat of us to rot if we're in a different dimension. That won't even be a problem.
Right. You're going to be taller. You're going to appear to look 30, 35, the men. Women appear to look 20, 25. You're not going to eat that much. And I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Knowing. At the end of that movie, the last 15 minutes, these human-like guys have these wings. If you take the wings off of these guys, that's what we're going to look like. We're still going to look human. We're just going to be different. We're going to be smarter. Kind of like you were saying, Janet, we're going to know everything. But they're going to let us know what was hidden from us. Okay? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things coming up. And we're going to get this technology. We're going to get answers that were taken away from us. I only use 14% of our brain. We're not stupid. It's just we're our own equal. You know, you are me, I am you. And we're going to learn all this from them. They're going to be teaching us this. They're going to be working side by side with us. This is going to be the neatest thing for every human down here when these people come down. You know, but it's going to be an event. But from the end of 2014 all the way to 2017.
So, wonder if there's any way you can you ask them questions when you go into your meetings? You said you just had a meeting on the 21st of this month, right? That was just a couple days ago. 3 days ago.
I can ask them everything. What you have to understand, it's not just my Fab Four. Talk about evasion of privacy, but it's in a good way. They can read your mind. They know what you're going to say before you say it. They'll let you say it. They're not going to answer you all the time. You know, they'll come up with like, Ramon, you're not ready for this. Or it's in the that I am ready for it, and we're getting close to this. But, yeah, I ask them questions. I get answers sometimes, you know. I ask them
how we can stop wars. How can we stop war? Can you ask them that?
How do we stop wars?
Yeah.
Right, because right now things seem to be a little bit crazy on this planet.
Oh, yeah.
With situations, and so they're not going to, correct me if I'm wrong, they're not going to allow us to destroy ourselves through nuclear holocaust because it affects them as well, right? The nuclear radiation and nuclear explosions affect them.
But we have nuclear leaks all over.
Right.
That's why they're down here and they're watching this. And they don't intervene on human life to the point of what we're going through. We're educated enough to know what has to stop. You know, the old saying is this: it's always our kids, never their kids. They make the rules. It's always our kids dying, saving the people, and protecting them for this planet. That's the way it's always been. That's going to change. There ain't going to be no war. It's going to be a peaceful planet. You know, it's time for the human race to evolve the word is supposed to be as we go into this. You know, I'm not a scientist. I'm your average Joe. I'm an ex-auto worker. My highest grade was 13 years. But with the education through my star people, it's pretty damn good. I'm a main player, so like totally Alfred Webre, Sam Harrison, Sydney, Australia. You guys are main players. You know what's going on, Janet. You're a contactee. Your husband knows what's going on too. Mm-hmm. And you're having these shows. It's a way for us as humans to get the information out. Just like what you guys are doing. You got one great show here. I hope to come back on your show in the future. I really love the show you guys have. And I get it out in my meetings. And when I meet with my Fab Four, whatever information they give me, if it's good or bad, I get it out. That way nobody can say, hey, Ray, help this. You know.
What I want to know is if you could only ask them, how can we stop the rulers from ruling and destroying us, but honor them and not have to do them in?
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could, you know, I don't like killing anything. Maybe they could be isolated off planet and sent somewhere else.
They have a choice. Mm-hmm. They're going to have two choices. Your Illuminati, people that's running the show down here. Our top leaders have been talked to by star people. Okay? Coming through the people now. They've been talked to stop the wars, nuclear power plants, anything new. They've been talked about all this. This was recent. It's the information I get from my guys. They're going to have a choice. They can go to the reptilian planet, Hydro Draco, never come back here, or they can change their ways, stay here, and go through this beautiful way of life we're going to go through, you know, and that's there. And I think you're going to see this.
So the reptilians that came to you, who are part of this Illuminati, what message? Why did they pick you up? And if they're not going to help us, what was the reason for the negative beings picking you up and having a discussion with you?
Because that's what I was saying earlier. Their information was not good. their information was, the reptilians was, we were going to be reptilians. They're ruling this planet, which they were. Okay. The praying mantis, the guys in the silver suits, the Orion Greys are right there with the reptilians. Mm-hmm. They don't want us to make it. Okay. It was not good information. The other 28 was programmed to almost get the same information. We have bases down here. We've been watching you guys for years. We're watchers and protectors of this planet. Hell, I can see why everybody comes here. It's the most beautiful planet in the world.
Right.
For all these years. But the education that me and my late father and I've gotten, and I got to throw my late grandfather, even though he met the little 12-inch guys and the little people, what they told him, the information they get. These people are from old country. They have old country ways. They're Catholic. My dad was Catholic. He didn't believe in God. Star people turned my dad around. My dad read the Bible back and forth, went to church. That was not my dad. My dad was old school ways. Mm-hmm. God bless his soul. For an 8th grade education person, one smart son of a bitch. Pardon my French. I love him. I love the people on the planet. And I'm out to, get this information out and just, we're all going to be in this together.
So you said the 4 good ones. One of them is an elephant-type species.
Ganesh!
And, in India they have a god named Ganesh. Can you tell us a little bit more about this elephant species as part of your Fab 4 that you meet up? You meet with these people on a regular basis, correct? Like every 2 months?
About every 2 months. The elephant people are from the 13th, 14th dimension. They wear these black jumpsuits. They got red pyramid patches. They have a small trunk. They look like an elephant in the face. They're brilliant. They're just as friendly as the Nordiques. These people are unreal. The Nordiques and the elephant people kind of take charge,
And the Nordiques are you saying Nordic or Nardic?
Nordic.
Nordic. And what do they look like?
They look just like us. You could put a T-shirt and a pair of jeans on them.
Okay.
They're built real good. They're good-looking guys. The women are real good-looking. The women fly their crafts. They're either in a cigar-shaped craft, white or brown, giant craft, or fine saucer. Sometimes they'll fly in a triangle craft, all black. But
so when you're in this meeting with them, regardless of what dimension they're from, do they materialize in a 3D form that you could touch during these meetings?
Mm-hmm. See, when I meet them, when we go into the room, we're hugging and touching. And as smart as they are, and as great as they are, they're coming through dimensions. You got radiation, you got magnetics, and everything you can think of. It's not that they don't understand what they're doing to us humans. Remember this, even abductees, as a contact. Mm-hmm. We're not in spacesuits. We're in a T-shirt and a pair of jeans. Okay? When I leave my car, that's what this last meeting was all about on the 21st, because they made a protective shield to protect me now. Otherwise, it was always meeting on my TV. It's off, having meetings. Because if I kept going, it was 6 months ago, I was fighting for my life. And if I kept meeting these guys in the way that we were meeting, it was going to kill me. So they came out with a protective shield for me. And now I'm okay. But as smart as they are, they weren't realizing. But as you don't have to be a rocket scientist as a human being to figure out we're not in spacesuits. We're meeting them in T-shirts and jeans, and that's the way it was, even with my late father, over 50 years here. But whatever disease would come out of this, if any, it's like what we're doing with our food. We're spraying our food in a 20-year period, we're killing ourselves. Okay? And you got all kinds of other disease. And you got chemtrails. You don't know what the hell they're spraying.
Right.
So you got so much against you. And all the star people are trying to do is educate us to stop what we're doing. Stop spraying our food. Back in my time, you were there. We sprayed them gardens and tomatoes. There was nothing wrong with them. You know how it was.
Right.
Look
yeah,
what
everything was fake.
We got nuclear power plants, Chernobyl, Fukushima. You see what's going on. All these wars, all this stuff, even back in the time when the military, Nevada test sites, you know, the bombs, everything, all that shit was getting into the dimensions, into them. That's when they started coming down here and telling our higher-ups.
Yeah, that's the modern era contact. It started after, of course, we started testing the bomb, and after World War II when we actually used them. So that accelerated because that affects them. So I wonder if just the nuclear waste going into the atmosphere, does that affect the other dimensions, or is that just limited to our planet?
Our planet, because what you're trying to say is Fukushima is a good thing to look at. If the star people did at Chernobyl, they went down, you know, these guys can go in a live volcano. Live volcano.
Right. We see that all the time.
They can fly right up to the sun. We cannot do this shit. But they can do. Mm-hmm. And they've been telling us, anything nuclear, we're destroying this planet. We're going to destroy ourselves. We're going to be like a dinosaur. We'll be extinct. We won't be here.
But it's based on what the Illuminati is doing, because they had choices to go with free energy systems and non-polluting systems back when Tesla was alive, and they made a choice to go with these systems that they could monetize, and which the side effect is it would depopulate, kill people and create diseases. So this Illuminati reptilian factor is thriving on our fear and our pain, apparently.
They're destroying our resource base.
They deal with the bad star people. They give them, remember the milk carton kids? That's some of them. For alien technology. People playing God with our lives. Who gives them the right to do that? They don't do it with their kids. They do it with our kids. All this shit's going to stop.
But would they just take over planet Earth, and are they terraforming it for their own agenda? Perhaps they can live in a environment that has more pollution and radiation. Is that the ultimate agenda?
For us?
For the reptilians or the negative extraterrestrials. I mean, they're allowing this to happen with this power system that we have based on oil. Which is
all that's going to change. They're not even going to be in a picture. There's only 250 down there. You got people that are reptilians, major people down here that I won't mention any names, but that are in power. And
I guess what I'm saying is, are they able to survive under an environment that's full of pollution and radiation? Because they be destroyed. If they want to take over the Earth and see the humanity destroyed and wiped down to 500,000 slaves, does that mean that they can survive in this environment that is being created by the constant pollution of radiation by Fukushima, etc.?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
They might. Well, they wouldn't be here. That's probably the answer I would give there, because everything would be dead here. You already got diseases down here. There's a list of them, and in order to stop everything, and the cures that are down here, the plants. The other thing is cures that are hidden from us.
Right.
Here's the only reason I say this. I have cancer. You got donations for cancer, heart disease, the list goes on. And they probably already have the cures. Mm-hmm. They're hiding it from us, okay? If you give the cures, it stops the donation. Screw that. No.
But the idea is to get you addicted to their pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, they want everybody on a pill because the pharmaceuticals, when these guys go and talk to these doctors, they go, here's X amount of dollars and thousands of dollars you can make sure your patients take these pills, whether they need them or not. That's what, and people are getting diseases from this, breast cancer. The list goes on, whatever it is, whatever you come up with. I'm not a scientist, but it's just like the star people, they're right. I've learned from them about us. We're in the sun a lot. These people have 2 suns on their planet. They're underneath the ground. They're the masters of the underground. The immortality of these people, I can understand why they live as long as they do. When they say when we're in the sun, we lay on the beach or, out in the sun getting a suntan. The cells that you guys know what I'm talking about because we're getting older.
Uh-huh.
All right? Them cells die to give us old age. Our top scientists are supposed to be trying to reverse themselves to keep us younger, and that would be our immortality, even though we're living a little bit longer now. Even more, now if you go back to the biblical times, you people were living 400 to 1,200 years old. What secret did they find for their immortality? I think they had outside help with the star people then. It's the same way here. But the information that gets to the people that are playing God down here with their lives don't get to us.
Right.
But people like me, my late father, and millions like us that are getting this information, it makes sense.
So you're saying most species are, if they're in 3D reality, live inside their planets or under the ground, and we are an anomaly that we're living on the surface of the planet. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Our military's on Mars, an underground base to this day. Under the ground. We're going to start finding out information like that the same way we have dimensions down here on planet Earth. They want us to learn, know where these dimensions are. They're safe havens for us to go into. They're havens for us to get from point A to point B quicker out there.
Where are these havens? Where are they?
Well, I don't know where they're at, but, I know our higher-ups and people who are running the show know where everything's at, because of what they've been doing. And where they've been.
Underground installation. So that's why they're building these installations underground, is that they will be protected by the elements, at least, and the radiation cancers.
But always remember this, what you just said. All these steel underground, worlds to protect the president and all the top people, they always lose common sense. You got super volcanoes underneath the ground and in the ocean. That's why star people, if this happened, you go to higher ground, airplane or mountains. Because when them super volcanoes erupt, everything comes up. They would be the first ones to go. And then the people that's on the ground on the planet.
Well, people say Yellowstone is going to go, is showing all these signs of something major.
Yeah.
They think it's bigger than they even anticipated. So we could have something that could be like the event. Are these things being triggered, like the earthquake that happened? You're saying that was HAARP. These volcanoes are kind of like weak points on the planet where things want to come out, the energy wants to come out. Do you think that could be? Would they count that if it was artificially stimulated by HAARP as their event for intervention to come down and start this new golden age?
Yeah. Well, your reptilians and your Ryan Grays. I got dates from my guys. It was July 3rd to the 15th. But they intervened on the 11th because the Ryan Grays and reptilians were going to pull off the new matter fault line, and they stopped that. That was
okay. So this happened this year. There was something in July that they
They stopped it.
They stopped.
The good Star people stopped it and killed a lot of the reptilians and Orion Greys. This is what these people cram on, everything evil. They're evil people. Mm-hmm. Every bad Star people that's been down here wants to control or get rid of humanity. The good ones are here to protect us, to change and turn us around, especially now because, we're a main player. We got people using our DNA out there. They're going to make sure that we go through this smooth from a carbon 3D to crystal liquid 4th dimensional. Not everybody will go right away. There's a planet out there the size of Jupiter. It's never been touched. And but eventually everybody will become 4th dimensional. I'm just a messenger. Messages I get from these people, I get it out. And,
So did they give you any information on your recent meeting about what's going to happen in the next 2 months before your next meeting?
The next meeting with them will be a little bit longer. They already told me that. Because they're working on things. These people have lives just like we do, only they're different. People don't understand that. I got a lot of people in my meeting room that would love to meet ET, go to a planet, go on a craft. It just doesn't work that way. Down the road, when we all meet these people, eventually that'll happen.
You got to say how we can get hold of you and how people can get hold of you, and this is the time to let us know how to buy your books and stuff too.
We have 2 to 4 minutes, and they're not sure when we're going to get cut off.
My email is Kossee Baby, is KOSSEE Baby BABY 47 @gmail.com, or go to UFOHub.net. This is where I have all my meetings. They can see my meetings. Matter of fact, September 1st will be my great friend Alfred Webre on Skype. You guys will be on my meeting in December 1st on Skype.
Yes, we're going to be on your meeting December 1st. Thank you for inviting us.
Only could be November 3rd. But you guys are major players. You're in a big part of what's coming up.
Wow.
You as a contact, Janet, you're going to see that as we get into this more. But if you guys ever need me for anything or ever want me to come back on, I'd love to.
Oh, we'd love to have you.
We sure do, especially since you're saying that you are, if a question is one that works, you're willing to convey it and see if they'll answer. That's a huge turn on for us. Thank you so much.
Now, this meeting you have, UFOHub.net, is that something that our listeners here can tune into and see you at this meeting? Are you saying that?
All you got to do is hit live. My meetings are the first Monday of the month, every month. They hit UFOHub.net live. They're going to look and watch me. I'm the host. Whether I'm talking or I'm introducing my guest, whatever the topic is, they're always going to be able to see it live. If they miss it, all my meetings are taped.
Wow. And where can they see the taped meetings? Are they on YouTube, or where can we find your taped meetings?
UFOHub.net. Yeah, I think he's got on YouTube too. Yeah, there's my new life story and part 2 with the 32 star people, and the interview with Alfred is on UFOHub.net and YouTube. But
now, if somebody wants to come and meet you in person, where is this location? How many does it hold? Do they have to make reservations?
No, it holds 30 to at least 50 people. It's 7777 Watson Road, Sunset, Bowen Alley. And
what town? What part of the world?
I don't know what that is out there, but I'm from South St. Louis. It's not that far from me. I want to say Marlboro area. It's like a Marlboro. That's the name of the town.
What state is that again? You're in
St. Louis, Missouri.
Missouri. Okay. Oh, okay. St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, it was a little bit. I couldn't hear it. Okay. So, yeah. So if someone comes to your presentation in person, they'll have a chance to ask you questions, right?
Yeah, they have to, they want, yeah.
Oh, that's great. And then if they want to, I'll ask you a question, they can write to you at Kosi Baby. So I'm going to send you some questions that I want you to ask the extraterrestrials when you meet them, and then when we have you on again, or when we meet December 1st or whenever it's supposed to happen, we can see if they've answered any of them or if they said, Raymond, you're not ready yet.
Yeah, you'll know either way. You send me any kind of questions you guys want, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take them to my Fab Four.
Thank you so much, Ray. Coming on our show. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Megan.